Alright, so step one, trying to straighten this plate. I'm gonna use the Forerunner. Boom, here we go. Yeah, that's not gonna do anything. Alright, so Forerunner failed. This is proof of concept to see if I can use a piece of metal in this burnt out log to work. It's gonna fail in 3, 2, 1, fucked. Okay, so I go ahead and try to just use the log. Later on, I find out that I can remove the bolts and a piece of metal and make like a makeshift anvil because my vice anvil is too small. And here we go. I figured out that I can use my impact to remove these bolts, and I'm gonna make a makeshift anvil. Here I use a couple of GRK screws to, again, proof of concept, just trying to make it quick and dirty. Trying to see if this works or not. And it works. For if you guys don't know, plastic handle hammers suck, and they suck even more when you get super sweaty. So I later put on gloves and eventually switched to like a ball peen. And as I learned that brute force isn't really the only method for this, and kind of being more precise with your strikes is more important. Also, this is exhausting. And here's me taking a break. Here's probably like the bigger mistake that I made was using my vice and abusing it. I eventually put a cheater bar on this too. My phone overheats. I don't know if I actually got that, but I didn't actually need to use my vice. I just needed to learn how to strike with a ball peen, and a sledge would be fine, but just to be more intelligent with my strikes. Here's me with the cheater bar. My phone overheated, but now we've gotten it relatively straight. We did a lot of this in the back, and it can finally fit on the anvil, quote unquote, of the vice. And here's where I really start learning on like where to hit and how to hit and all that. It's still hard work. This is still terrible, but it gets a little better towards the end. And here's the final result. Pretty flat, if I don't say so myself. Okay, I'm gonna do kind of like a time lapse of the setup and probably skip a bunch of stuff, but this is the start of the welding. I have to weld the square tubing to each other, and then to the flat bar, and then square tubing, and then flat bar, and then to each other. You'll end up seeing at the end what I mean, but yeah, just the setup. I'm by no means a welder, just self-teaching myself on how to weld. Stick welding right now. I later discovered I'm probably running too many amps. I still don't know, to be honest, and these first welds look absolutely terrible. I'd like to say they got better, but then they got worse again after they got better, so yeah. Alright, so here we go. First look at the first terrible gobs. Oh my god, so terrible. Ooh, maybe a little something there, but the rest of it is horrifically awful. Something about a grinder and terrible. No paint on this case, just grinder. Makes me the welder I ain't. I'm not going to show all my horrors, but this is just me filling in those disgusting globs with more disgusting globs to then eventually grind them down into semi-flat surfaces, because this is just going to be for a thermal battery and or cooking on. Here my weld gets a little bit better for sure. It looks like a weld. That's just whatever. And that's probably my second best piece. Yeah, it's just going to be a montage of welds. They got worse again. And we grind them, but I got the flat piece. That was so hard to do. This is the end of day 2 of doing this. 15 by 10. Any guesses? So day 3, we're cutting down the last flat piece to make it fit so that it's going to be 15.5 inches. Here, I clamped the edges of it good, but the center ended up freaking pulling down, and I then had to fill it with so much weld to get it to actually fit. I forgot to show the hole before I started, but I ended up filling it. The last cut I made wasn't actually the cut that I thought. It was just to straighten together flat piece. This is making the final flat piece. So this cut was a pain in the ass, but then I clamped this one way better, did way better welds, and here is the final result. It's not pretty, but she'll work.